Hello. Hello. Okay, we've got Marcus Keeley in the chat sending us dancing limmies. What the hell is going on? I'm getting confused with my hair and the microphone thing. Anyone else in the chat? We'll pop up and say hello, and we'll be kicking off in a couple of minutes. Greetings to all, especially greetings to young Marcus Keeley, who's going to be doing channel mod stuff for here. Sorry if this is bouncing about too much. I tried to sort of secure it in place. Hi, nerd, says Cat. Cat barters art. Cat barters snart or art? Cat, of course, I know from roller derby, so she knows the most about not being a nerd, of course, of anybody. Giant Dodo, Alex checking in with that dog. I believe that is actually Alex's true form. Small dog with a hat. So thank you for revealing your animega self to the chat. Anyone else want to pop up and say hi? Or people reticent? It's okay to be reticent. I'm a little reticent. I'm a little worried, concerned. We're trying a lot of new stuff tonight. This is totally new for me. The way I've done this living room is kind of an experiment. The mic, the thing. A bit of crowd work there, Marcus. Yes, absolutely. Someone pops up in the chat. I'm like, where are you from? Funny observation about where you're from. Where am I from? Set piece of material, but where I'm from. Howdy doody, says Tom Hodgkinson. Tom Hodge, condensing his name there into an elegant portmanteau. Duke Arrington says, yo, it's Aaron. Nice little cool logo of a guy with glasses. Very cool. There's better ways to spend your Sunday than watching a woman talk in front of a clothes horse underneath fairy lights. But also, is there really? I mean, can you think of anything better? Who's to say? There's probably a bit of a delay between the chat and what I'm saying, but we'll try and just kind of condense that. So we're going to simply say Duke Arrington. Arrington, like Aaron, like the two A's. Nice. Marcus Keeley popping up again. Anybody else want to say hello? Or if anyone has any feedback on this thing, what's happening here? Anyone has any comments? Pause. Giant Dodo says, I'm eating toad in the hole. Nice. Yannick says hi. Also, hello to Yannick. Okay, so I'm going to be starting Choose Your Adventure. Marcus Keeley says, do I want some instant feedback? It's funny because it's a reference to his very good podcast, Instant Feedback. Do subscribe. It's on iTunes and Spotify. And I was in the most recent episode. Okay, a couple of things I do want to know from the chat. Can you read what's here? What's in this little box? This little box? Can we read this okay? If anybody can't, I need you to be able to read English normally. Marcus can read it. Fab. Anyone else? Grant. Perfect. Okay, fab. It's sort of appearing twice in the images there, but that's no one's fault. Nice. Okay, great. All the yeses. Fab. We're going to be doing something. So I'll give out the choices, and for the first couple of choices, it'll be sort of what the majority of people in the chat type. That'll determine. It'll be a Twistifer. Twistifer says, reading it loud and clear. Thank you, Twistifer. So basically it'll be kind of what the majority of people in the chat say, but later on I might make it a sort of a spotlight choice, and Marcus I think is able to do a spotlight, I think. So Marcus, could you try and put a spotlight on Tom Hodgkinson, which is Tom Hodge. So at THOHODG. Hello, Michael Bell. And then Tom, if you type anything, it should come up in a little spotlight thing. So if it works, it might not work. This is my something might not be working song. Tom Hodge says, I'm very tall, which is true, but really we should have had a welcome thing for you. Might not be working. I don't want to edit this layout while I'm in it because then it'll just stop. We're going to keep trying to spotlight Tom Hodge. Hello again to Michael Bell, 86. Michael Bell, who constantly likes to remind us how old he is. Michael Bell, hello, you're very old. Thank you, Michael Bell. Michael Bell will probably eating yogurt and indulging in one of his many vices, which are just different types of yogurt. Okay. What do we reckon? Do we want to keep trying the spotlight thing? It might not be working. If it's not working, that's fine. Just we'll all move on with our lives, and I'll just call out random people in the chat. You kind of keep trying that. Biggie 60 says hey, and to you, Biggie 60, I say hey. Thank you for coming in. Michael Bell just said a strawberry. This is fascinating. Okay, lads. Okay. It's time to stop fucking around. Sorry for swearing. So, you see, yes, okay. I gonna start off the adventure of a lifetime, or of tonight. Big G. Oh, as in Big G, as in like Republican of Ireland slang for vagina. I hope so. Welcome to the chat, Massive Vagina. Welcome. Okay, did you guys know that the term choose your own adventure is protected under copyright laws? And we could actually be sued by the company ChooseCo? Well, you know now. So welcome to a legally distinct choose your own escapade. I'm going to give you a couple of choices at each point in the game. For the first couple of choices, I'll be doing majority in the chat voting. For the second, I'll kind of be doing picking out individuals. And so we'll try it. We're all learning together. Oh, sorry. It's not Big G as in massive vagina. It's just Big G as in Big G. Big G, I apologize to you. I thank you for your presence in the chat. Okay. What I need from the chat is I need an adverb. An adverb, for those who don't know, means going as a word with an ly at the end. A description for a verb, so slowly, creepily, softly. These are all adverbs, so give me an adverb. The first that kind of comes to your head, the first person to appear in the chat will produce it for me. I can see Giant Dodo flexing his arms, little emoji muscle, very good. Tom Hodge says hurriedly, a perfect adverb, Now I need a biscuit. So a biscuit of a type that you might consume perhaps with tea, perhaps with your grandmama, perhaps if you were to sit down, if perhaps you were hurriedly to run in to tea with your grandmama, what would the biscuit you would be eating with her be? Any kind of biscuit. Bourbon, says Little Astonished. Okay, so your name in this adventure is Fred Hurriedly-Bourbon. And you are the top copyright lawyer in all of Portrush. You eat, sleep, and breathe the law. You are passionate, you are driven, and you always get your man. The reason that you are so good at the law, at copyright law in specifically, is when you encounter moments of copyright infringement, you get a massive nosebleed. It's like instant. It's like an allergy. It's like, and then you know. And that's why you're so good at what you do. And what you do is your life. You've been kidnapped by aliens. All you have with you is Halsbury's Law of England, which is a legal textbook, a packet of tissues, and a toothbrush. Remember, this is all that we have with us, and we can only use each of these once. So just info in the chat. Okay. You're strapped to a metal table, staring out into the vastness of space. An alien enters. Marcus Keeley would like to know whether the colours are significant. No, they are not. This time. Maybe an idea for later. Anyway, you're strapped to a metal table. You're staring out into the vastness of space. It's blackness and these little pricks of light. And you realise that you're looking at time. The lights that you see are stars and planets that are dying so far away from you. And you begin to think, What if my perception of time has been fractured, altered? I have been kidnapped by a race outside my own perception of reality. What can I do? An alien enters. He's humanoid, but his skin is black and red and sort of swirly patterns. He's got short horns sticking out of his skull, and they kind of dot around his skull. He's dressed in black. His eyes are red and yellow. He looks at you impassively. Then he speaks. Hello, I'm Darth Maul. This is Star Wars. Instantly massive nosebleed. What do you beg him to do? You can beg him to change his name, cover his face, or let you go. So at this point, I'm going to be seeing the majority of people. I'm going to wait until I get the first couple of answers. So you can ask him to change his name, so you'll stop bleeding your nose. See whether you cover his face. That might be a big enough distinction, the separation. Or you could beg him to let you go. Someone says we've got change his name, change his name, change his name. Great, okay. A lot of copyright fans in the chat. That's what I like to see. Of course, that would elevate to the state of parody and enable you to skip the legal thing. Richard Dad popping in with change his name. Thank you, Richard. Welcome to the chat. Okay. He agrees to go by Marth Dahl and explains that Star Wars is the name of the ship. Your nosebleed lessons. He says you've been brought to the spaceship because you're considered a top copyright lawyer and also a prime specimen of Earth male. You've not had much time in your life for women. Your true wife is the law. Marth Dahl says he has a challenge for you that will test you to your limit. But first you must choose. The challenge of love or the challenge of the law? Somewhere you've always felt lacking, or somewhere where you know your true skills are to be, but they might be a bit safe. Or it might not be. You're in space. No rules. Rules aren't a thing anymore. Your own perception of who you are has fundamentally been altered. Your nature of reality has changed. Okay, Adam's gone for law. Duke Arrington has gone for law. It's a lot of people going for the law. Okay. Marth Dahl yells, he has chosen law! I have to get rid of a few questions now. Okay. Marth Dahl says, the challenge is, I'm suing Disney. You'll be representing me, Sleeping Beauty, and Spider-Man. Fred, you're in shock. Your nose bleeding starts again. Now, how do you handle the nosebleed? You can choose an item. So you can choose your legal textbook, your tissues, or your toothbrush. And remember, you can only use each one once. So your nose is bleeding. You're trying to figure out how to respond to this insane case that Marth Dahl wants to bring against Disney. Tissues, someone's gone for toothbrush. It's either tissues or toothbrush so far. I'm going to wait until I get a couple more either side. Now remember, your nose is bleeding. You're trying to figure out a legal thing. Thank God for the copyright lawyers the world has twisted for. Hey, they're the real heroes. Okay, another people going for tissues. I've got 2 tissues, 2 toothbrushes. Arrington's going off course wildly with Halsbury laws. Okay, get one more, be able to decide which it is. Tissues, okay, I think that's the majority in the chat for tissues. Tissues, you plug your nose up enough to kind of clear your head. The bleeding is sort of stymied, if you will, by the nosebleed. You realize he doesn't have a case. You say, Marth, I really like you, like we've been hanging out, this feels like a good vibe, but I just don't know if I can take the case on. And Marth says, it's too late for that! Ho, 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 ho. And you say, I'm right here, man, like you could just talk to me. Anyway, Marth says that you're currently on course to Disneyland, speeding through the darkness of space. Your nosebleeds lessons are still a little bit again when you arrive at a legally distinct Disneyland, which is less a children's theme park and more a giant pit of toxic slime. You kind of think, oh, this is sort of going, this is okay. This is just slime. Maybe law means something different over here. Marth steps off the spaceship, bringing you with him. You're nervous. The air smells sulfurous. The pit is bubbling, big green gloop, giant liquidy bubbles pop up, and when they pop, it's a smell of eggs and rot and like mold, and also a bit of aubergine, which is kind of nice, but like it's not lush. It's not a lush bubble bath. You know what I mean? So the bubbles begin to bubble more and more as you and Marth walk towards the pit. Marth pulls out his lightsaber. Instantly, you're bleeding a little bit more again. More tissues, more tissues. You say, Marth, what's we doing here? And Marth says, we are here to sue Disneyland. The bubbles begin, it's like they're boiling. They've moved from a simmer to a boil, and they start to coalesce in the middle. And an arm of slime begins to pull out of the bubble, and then another arm, and the whole liquid kind of shakes and shivers, and this amorphous, almost humanoid blob begins to pull out of the slime. Its mouth it feels like it could be a mouth. It sort of hangs agape. You're shitting yourself. You've sued a lot of people, but this is a whole other level. As you've said, because you stuffed the tissues up your nose, you had the wit to say there's no case here. Because the thing is, even if you were suing actually Disneyland, for Marth to prove that Disney had owed him money from Star Wars, they would have to prove not only it was a distinct physical similarity, but that there was a distinct similarity in plot, tone, everything. You know, it just wasn't going to work. Because you said that you weren't going to take the case, the monster seems to somehow know that and stretches out a long arm towards Marth. It wraps around him. He futilely tries to rip it off with the lightsaber, but it has no effect. And he's dissolved. Not slowly, but not quick enough that you don't see him realize that he's being dissolved. His eyes are wide and staring. You lock eyes as he slowly disintegrates into the slime monster. You're in shock. You're in complete and utter shock. At least it hasn't gone for you first, but you're in complete and utter shock. You react numbly, almost on autopilot. You yell numbly, contextlessly, stupidly, I object! And the monster recoils. How will you attack it next? So remember, we've used our tissues, we've got a toothbrush, and we've got Halsbury's Laws of England. Toothbrush, Halsbury's Laws of England. Our nose is bleeding a little bit, so we're losing a little bit of blood. We're maybe not making the sharpest thing that we can. So this is the thing. Is it the laws or the toothbrush? Okay, we're going for a toothbrush, and we've got a laws in the chat and a toothbrush in the chat. So I'm going to have to wait until a couple more people. Okay, Marcus wants to lay the law on that motherfucker. Okay. Laws. I think that the moment in the chat is for laws. You start frantically flicking through the textbook, yelling out random legal phrases. Adjournment, you say. Constructive dismissal. Ipso facto. Settlement. Habeas corpus. Interlocutory judgment. The monster twists and turns as if he's being burnt with every word that you say. He shrieks. Well, he opens his mouth. Is it a mouth? It's not so much a shriek as like, you know when water goes down the plug hole of that like that noise. And it begins to dissolve and dissolve and dissolve and dissolve until the whole toxic pit evaporates. And you're standing, swaying slightly, looking at a pit, realizing that you are alone in the vastness of space. And you don't know how you're going to get home. And all you have left is a toothbrush. Now, do we go back to the space station? Spaceship? Do we clean our teeth? Or do we run? Marcus wants to eat the toothbrush. I don't have an option for that, but if let's see what the other people in the chat are saying. Eat toothbrush, clean our teeth, back to the spaceship. Got a little off piece for this, so I don't actually have a sign. But if anyone, how are we going to get out of this one, chat? Okay, Tom Hodgkinson says, "Run, Forrest, run!" Anybody else? Gonna run? Gonna stay? We have our toothbrush. The spaceship is behind this. Mr. Fifth, lovely to see you again, Mr. Fifth. That's a reference to a previous adventure. Duke Arrington says, "Mother always said clean your teeth in case you get hit by a car or the ambulance people will think your breath is bad." Good point. Back to the spaceship. Brush teeth. Spaceship. Fashion toothbrush into shiv. I'm going to say we brush our teeth on the way back to the spaceship. I'll split the difference in the chat. So we're going back. And as we walk back, brushing our teeth, a face appears in a porthole in the spaceship. The landing thing, walkway descends again. And a rather beautiful lady steps down. Humanoid. She's got like 2 tentacles, so she's alien, but not like in a weird way. Basically, you're into it. She said, "Sorry, I was drawn by the noise of the toothbrush. Are you the guy that Darth kidnapped?" And you say, "Marth, please call him Marth, Nosebleed." It's not a great line, to be honest. Like, she's a bit like, and you say, "Well, who are you?" "Yeah, I am that guy. Who are you?" And she said, "Well, I was going to be the love challenge because you went legal. We never really got to meet, but." And you say, "My nose is bleeding." And she says, "Listen, I'm not really into anything sort of serious right now, but we could wander through space together, or I could take you home." Now, the advantage of home is that everything will be normal again. Your nose will stop bleeding quite so much. If you go through space, I mean, who knows what adventures you'll have. But this is up to you guys. So are we going to go further into the reaches of space? Or are we going to take what we've learned? We've discovered there's alien planets. We've discovered there's life in the outer galaxies. Like, do we share that with the rest of humanity? Or do we strike out on our own? This alien lady, she's cute, but she's kind of coming on a bit hard. So Giant Dodo says, "Tell her to back off." Marcus wants to shiv the alien lady. Adam's down for space lady adventures. Kat wants to go home. Kat, I want you home as well. Duke Arrington says he's not going to clean his teeth just to go home. Marcus wants to maintain his independence from any alien ladies. Fair enough. So let me see. Space or home, guys? Space or home? Space, says Richard Dad. Any other? I think it's mainly space. I think we had a couple for home. Mr. Fifth, space. Mr. Fifth actually appeared in the Mark Watson Adventures, so nice to see you again, Mr. Fifth. Space. Space it is. Okay. Right. You and the alien lady hook up a few times, and it's nice. And you kind of feel like you've sort of gotten over being like single. You begin to consider that maybe the law couldn't be your only wife. It might not work out with Space Lady long term, but it's been fun, and hopefully, and you've had a good time. She takes you back to her planet. You've had many adventures along the way, and you end up becoming a respected professor in an alien university where you specialize in human law. You marry another human who got abducted a while back in like the early 90s, so she's a little bit more accustomed to the culture than you are. You have a couple of kids, you adapt to the lifestyle, and you end up settling down at the age of about 35, 40. But you're happy. Even though you don't get to go home again, you get to look out at the vastness of space. You stand on you and your wife's helipad, looking at your kids fly about in their spacesuits, thinking, this is just like the Jetsons. Nosebleed, nosebleed, nosebleed. Thinking, this is definitely legally distinct from the Jetsons. And you're happy ever after. And that's the end of the adventure, guys. for you this time anyway. Space retirement sounds good, says Adam. Marcus says it would be impossible to divorce the law. Extremely good. It is impossible to truly divorce the law. So Mary Flanagan does comedy. I think that's the end of the adventure, guys. Thank you so much. So I'm on Facebook at Mary Flanagan does comedy. Do hit follow if you'd like to know when I'm going to be doing this again. It'll probably be next week. Adam says there are no rules in love or law, and he's right. Any feedback that you guys have about like whether I should be doing the lights differently, anything about the mic, message me either on the Facebook page or send me a message on Twitch. Do give us a follow. Also give Marcus Keeley a follow because he was our mod chat and he was our moderator and he really helped me set up all of this. The only reason this looks like halfway decent and I'm able to do it all is because of Marcus. So cheers for Marcus. Twistifer says he's thinking of your space wife and your space life. Aren't we all? Okay, claps in the chat. Thank you guys so much. That's so nice. Well done, folks. Well done, you, Tom. You gave us some good steers early on. You had the mood of the chat. I'd like to thank Kat as well. The light makes it look like the Noz come knocking at your door. It does a little bit, doesn't it? I'd like to thank Duke Arrington, Kat, Giant Dodo, Tom Hodge, Marcus, Richard, Adam, Twistifer, Thomas Ilmasifu. I forget his name, sorry, but thank you. And basically everyone who sent messages in the chat. Okay, I'm got Mr. Fifth as well. Adam's name. I'm going to end the chat now. But cheers, guys. Thank you. Bye.